Right, foundational scripture for what we're talking about is 1 Peter 5, 8 through 9. Be sober-minded, be watchful. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour. Resist him firm in your faith, knowing that the same kinds of suffering are being experienced by your brotherhood throughout the world. We're all going through these things, right? So I want to talk about more tactics of the enemy. In the last video, I talked about how the devil does not want us to forgive. In this video, I want to talk about lying and its many colors. So we know from scripture that Satan is a liar and that he is the father of lies. Jesus tells us in John 8:44, he's talking to the Pharisees. He says, you are of your father, the devil, and your will is to do your father's desire. He was a murderer from the beginning and does not stand in the truth because there is no truth in him. When he lies, he speaks out of his own character. He speaks out of his own will, for he is a liar and the father of lies. So today it's like lies have become truth and truth have become lies. And I'm not talking about in the world. I'm talking about in the church. If anyone continues to operate in lies, they are of their father, the devil. Okay, so it doesn't even matter if they go to church. There are many forms of lies. Like there's concealing truth, there's twisting truth, there's flat out lying, but there's one type of lie that I want to talk about today, and that's taking what people have said out of context or not understanding what someone said. And I think we see this a lot today. This is really serious because this is what they did to Jesus. And if Satan and his children did this to Jesus, they will do it to you and me. And so here's what Jesus said in John 2:18. So the Jews said to him, what sign do you show us for doing these things? And they were looking out at the temple. And Jesus answered them and said, destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up. Then the Jews said, it has taken 46 years to build this temple, and you're going to raise it up in 3 days? But he was speaking about the temple of his body. They did not understand that. They did not know that. So when it was time to get him on the cross, Matthew 26:59 says, now the chief priests and the whole council were seeking false testimony against Jesus, that they might put him to death. But they found none, though many false witnesses came forward. At last, 2 witnesses, all you need is 2, came forward and said, this man said, I am able to destroy the temple of God and to rebuild it in 3 days. Look at that. They just took what he said and used it against him to get him on the cross. Then in Matthew 27:39, those that were passing by him on the cross were wagging their heads and saying, you who would destroy the temple and rebuild it in 3 days, save yourself. If you are the Son of God, come down from that cross. So also the chief priests, the scribes, the elders, they were all mocking him over what he said. He saved others, he cannot save himself. He is the King of Israel. Let him come down now from the cross and we will believe in him. Did you see that? They totally took what he said and turned it around and used it against him to kill him. Okay, that is a tactic of the enemy. That is one tactic, one device, one scheme that we need to understand and be aware of today. Because again, if the enemy and his children did that to Jesus, they are going to do that to you and me. So let's beware of this tactic and let's rise above it through Christ.